watching Good Morning Britain. A British teenager convicted of lying to police in Cyprus should be brought back to the UK for medical treatment. That's the advice of a psychologist who's been working with the 19-year-old and who's still being held there on bail.
She says she was raped by 12 Israeli tourists at a hotel in July, but later withdrew that allegation. As she says, she did so under pressure from local police, a claim that they are denying. Her psychologist says that she's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Dr. Christine Tizzard, the psychologist, joins us now from West Sussex. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ben.
So, Christine, can you explain a little bit about the situation and your fears for this girl because of the situation she's found herself in? You've spoken to her, you understand where she is at the moment. What are your concerns?
Yes, my concerns are basically that as time goes on, her condition is deteriorating. It's vitally important that she's able to access skilled treatment to prevent the condition from deteriorating even further.
And in terms of how does the condition and how does the situation manifest itself? What will she be experiencing?
Well, I mean, in general terms, she'd be experiencing a number of symptoms, you know, but the chief symptom would be a level of hyperarousal, a level of emotional numbing. She would be experiencing flashbacks, nightmares, insomnia, hypersomnia, just a whole range of extremely frightening symptoms that, if untreated, can continue on, you know, to provide a much worsening situation, if, of course, it could get any worse than it actually is already.
So the claim is that she withdrew her allegations into the men that she initially said had raped her and attacked her. Did she give any sign or indication as to why she did that? Because I know that the campaign to try and get her help focuses on the fact that there was a lot of pressure on her at the time.
Well, obviously, I can't, you know, comment on the precise factors, you know, of the case. But what I can say is that people who are suffering from and have a diagnosis of PTSD are extremely easily overwhelmed. And when they become hyperaroused and overwhelmed, they will frequently do anything to release the psychological pressure that they find themselves in.
It seems like I mean, it's an extraordinary case, a terrifying case for parents back here and for her, of course, because this is a very popular holiday destination with young people, as it was indeed for her when she went out there. I mean, sort of, what's your advice? I mean, you've spoken to her here, but what's your advice to parents who are thinking their kids might be going out there to get a little bit of sunshine? I mean, she was between school, wasn't she, and university, and she went out for the experience and finds herself now in a situation that she could never have envisaged.
Well, I think, as always, you know, it is about being extremely careful and, you know, looking after yourself. And this obviously is a difficult case. But at the moment, it's absolutely, you know, important to state that she's having wonderful legal representation by one of, you know, our top QCs, Lewis Power. But in general terms, you know, all I can say about it, you know, is people would need to obviously mind themselves. I certainly wouldn't particularly want any of my female family members to be out there unaccompanied at the present time.
No, it's a frightening situation. So you're talking about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. We use that phrase, or are more used to that phrase being used in connection with combat, members of the armed forces. How are you applying it to this situation? Why do you think it displays those kind of symptoms?
Well, I think that's a very important question. I mean, we hear so much about military PTSD, and the fact that, you know, any individual who is subject to a life-changing experience, i.e. a trauma, can develop PTSD. It's something that's very often skirted over the extent of PTSD within the civilian population.
So, look, Christine, we're going to have to leave you very shortly, but just quickly, what are your worries for this girl if she doesn't get the support she needs, or indeed we don't get her back to the UK to be treated?
Well, my worries are, my real concerns are that this PTSD will not resolve unless she has timely treatment. And she will be left probably with enduring symptoms. I think she needs to come home, and she needs to be home where she can be appropriately treated as soon as possible.
Good to talk to you this morning. I'm sure there's many members of her family and friends that are desperate for that to happen too. But good to speak to you, and thank you for sharing your perspective with us this morning.
Thank you.
That's Dr. Christine Tizzard, a psychologist who's been speaking to the teenager in Cyprus, going through an extraordinarily difficult time.